So good morning, everybody. As we get started today, what I'd like to do is just a few minutes of settling in together. So let's breathe together, inhaling and exhaling. And if you'd like to do a little movement with this, we could inhale, bringing our hands to our hearts, and exhale, bringing our hands out to the screen. Just really reaching out to each other, supporting our community. Inhaling and exhaling. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile. And just a few more breaths like this. Settling and being here. Thank you. So I hope you feel really here. I do. Today's Parsha is Truma, and it goes into a great deal of detail about building the Mishkan, also known as the tabernacle or the tent of meeting. The beginning of the Parsha, Moses, Yud-He Vav-He spoke to Moses saying, "Tell the Israelite people to bring me gifts. You shall accept gifts for me from every person whose heart is so moved." That line, whose heart is so moved, hang on to it. Now, a little bit later in the Parsha, we have the line, "And let them make me a sanctuary that I may dwell among them." These are the two lines that I found really interesting. To me, the short version is, the first line is about that I read about generosity. Bring me gifts, every person whose heart is so moved. Generosity. And that other line, make me a sanctuary that I may dwell among them, is talking about really the purpose of the Mishkan, that it's a dwelling place for God. So I'm going to talk about both of these topics. So I think that the generosity of spirit was really central to the gift giving. It's giving with a generous heart. So the description goes on that the people willingly brought gifts in order to build the Mishkan. It was not a tax. It wasn't forced giving of any kind. This was giving from the heart, each person according to their own means. So some people provided textiles, some people provided gems, some gold and silver and copper. To me, the essence of the notion of generosity is described. Give wholeheartedly, according to your means. And some people may not have had that which to give in terms of material possessions, but they were able to give time and expertise. In the Women's Torah commentary, they say, quote, "Our Parsha teaches that the Truma, gift, is an offering that comes from the deep recesses of the heart. Then and now, it is a privilege to be involved in the sacred work of building community and constructing a dwelling place for the divine. So the actual building of the Mishkan was what I would consider to be a two-purpose project, right? Dual purpose. One purpose was to create community. So the building brought everybody together. Some people had the skills and were able to kind of do the architecture plans, if you will. And then other people were able to follow the instructions and execute the plans that were developed. The project brought everyone together. We weren't a community yet. We were a ragtag bunch of previously enslaved people, and we needed a project to bring us together, to work together, to create community. And to me, this is the essence of community. Everyone participates, again, according to their ability and talents, whatever they might be. And it takes the entire community to build a dwelling place for God. So then there's this whole question about the purpose of the Mishkan. That line reads, "Build me a sanctuary that I may dwell among them." So that's an interesting line, that I may dwell among them. And there are some commentators who talk about that not being dwelling in the Mishkan, but dwelling in each individual. More about that in a moment. The thing that's so interesting to me is that the people had a need to have a personal relationship with God and wanted to be able to say, God is with us. So there's this we create this Mishkan so that we can have God with us. And again, from the Women's Torah commentary, instead of being a place of communal worship, it was conceived, the Mishkan, as an elaborate and costly residence for the divine presence. And they go on to say, it is helpful to remember that behind the mass of arcane details lies a yearning for God's presence in an attempt to establish a relationship between divine immanence and transcendence. In other words, between God's abilities to be right here and everywhere at the same time. So this relationship, this desire to have a relationship with the divine is absolutely central. And Rabbi Mark Margolius wrote a commentary, and in it, he notes that the 19th century commentator, Rabbi Meir Lebush ben Yechiel Michel, also known as the Malbim, interprets "I will dwell among them" as "I will dwell within them," the people, not in it, the sanctuary. Each human being, he teaches, is to build a tabernacle in their own heart for God to dwell in. Each one should build a tabernacle in the innermost recesses of the heart and prepare an altar upon which to offer up, as it were, all aspects of oneself to God's service. And I just want to share that next week, I will be talking more about that internal Mishkan. So I just think that that's such an important concept, that we have that divine in us, And we therefore have this Mishkan. So with that, I invite you to take your seat. And let's check our posture. If you're in a chair, feet flat on the floor, your sitting bones really evenly placed on the chair or cushion. And as we settle and sink and allow our bodies to become heavy, we rise up from the pelvis, up through the spine. So the crown of our head is reaching up to the heavens. And we breathe. And I really do encourage a couple of nice, deep cleansing breaths. Inhaling as fully as is comfortable for you. Holding that breath and then exhaling through your mouth slowly and completely. And again, inhaling deeply, and exhaling slowly, making some noise. It's just fine. Having a nice, good exchange of air. And as we're settling into this meditation, I'm going to share a reading that was developed by mindfulness teacher John Kabat-Zinn, and it was reconfigured into a poetic form. And I honestly don't know who did that reconfiguring, if it was John Kabat-Zinn or someone else, but this is the way it came to me. Generosity is another quality which, like patience, letting go, non-judging, and trust, provide a solid foundation for mindfulness practice. You might experiment with using the cultivation of generosity as a vehicle for deep self-observation and inquiry, and exercise in giving. A good place to start is with yourself. See if you can give yourself gifts that may be true blessings, self-acceptance, or some time each day with no purpose. Practice feeling deserving enough to accept these gifts without obligation. Simply receive from yourself and from the universe. And we'll sit in silence now for about 10 minutes. I invite you to deepen your breath. Begin to bring your attention outward as you come back to the room with a smile on your face. I will read a poem entitled When Giving is All We Have by Alberto Rios. One river gives its journey to the next. We give because someone gave to us. We give because nobody gave to us. We give because giving has changed us. We give because giving could have changed us. We have been better for it. We have been wounded by it. Giving has many faces. It is loud and quiet, big though small, diamond in wood nails. Its story is old, the plot worn, and the pages too. But we read this book anyway, over and again. Giving is, first and every time, hand to hand, mine to yours, yours to mine.